buenos dias a todos, and welcome back to Blanco Ball, and welcome back to the show that I promised you actually yesterday, but obviously complications happen, which they happen sometimes. But hey, we're here now, and my man's making his debut. Yeah, Barca volume. What we saying, brother? All good?
Dude, good, man. I decided to be nice today. See, I wore white, so I'm in white colors in Blanco's talk. So let's get it, man.
Yeah, I don't even think the audience can complain to that, man. I'm telling you that now as well. Come on, yeah. I man them. Smash these likes up. Yeah, you know how this thing rolls, man. Come on, yeah, and be respectful to my guests. Yeah, you know how this goes. No matter who comes on here, we're always respectful, people. Yeah, that's how we roll. Um, brother, let's just start this. Let's just kick this whole thing going, man. Um, your performance yesterday, obviously, you man played Mallorca. Won 3-0, kept a clean sheet as well. Some people did say that you guys were not the best, but I did say that it's just one game. To be fair, you just came into it. What were your thoughts on your performance?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a rusty game for sure, but it was finally it's finally the season actually begun. I was very happy about that. But a lot of times people would like to overreact to things like this, especially when you look back at last season. Right, last season we actually played a competitive game against Valencia in the season opener. We only won 2-1, and that game was extremely rusty. I mean, Lewandowski gets the brace. But that second goal, it was, I think at one point it was 1-1, and then Lewandowski gets the goal in the second half. That
Mm.
was the only reason why we were able to pull through on that first game. And as we saw throughout the course of that season, Valencia didn't have a great season. So Barcelona struggles with that kind of team that didn't really have a good season, but it's a season opener, so you can't really take too much into account. Now, I do think that a lot of times, well, even fans from my channel, right? Even people who have followed me, were really worried on the post game show, saying that we didn't have a good game and that we what is going on, what's happening with the team, and in many times like this, I'm like, dude, do you guys realize, like, if anyone who played anywhere, like even if as an amateur game, if you ever played, like, if the other team gets one or two men down, they're gonna park the bus, right? That's their strategy. That's the whole point. For the rest of the game, forget about the game plan, forget about the counters. Maybe one or two counters that maybe we get lucky and maybe we'll tie the game. Maybe we'll have a play where there's a corner and we'll tie it, or there's a penalty kick or something like that. But when you're two men down, there's no the game changed. So I have no doubt that Barcelona would have won this game going away, probably because it was 1-0 at the time. Let's say that the second goal from Ferran Torres, right? Let's say that Mallorca doesn't have any more players down with a red card. At that point, I think Mallorca may try to just attack, try to tie the game, and just would have just opened the floodgates. Barcelona would have just run through this Mallorca team, probably 5 to 6 nil. It just the way the game goes sometimes. That's why you got to watch the games, and when a team is down two men, this kind of things will happen.
Mm. Did you which player stood out for you in that game? Because there were some players that I thought actually played quite well. I can't lie. It's got Lamine Yamal. I mean, he always does his thing. I have to be real. He scored a quality goal. Massively impressive goal that he scored. As well. Who was your man of the match? Which player stood out for you in
Yeah,
in
no,
a,
I
in a
think the
positive way?
obvious man of the match was Lamine Yamal. I mean,
Mm.
he was involved in all three goals.
Oh,
Uh,
that cross for the first goal, by the way.
that was a pass of dreams,
Wow.
man. I
Yeah.
call it on my post game show, and I said, this is the pass of dreams to a run of dreams by Rafinha. These two, I mean, the chemistry. Not a lot of people are talking enough about the chemistry between Lamine Yamal and Rafinha. So many times, Lamine Yamal is making a pass that kind of looks like a shot. And one time, or maybe one or two times, it was like even Lamine Yamal admitted it. Now that was a shot. That wasn't really trying to hit Rafinha, but Rafinha knows Lamine Yamal is going from the far post every single time, Sam. So
Mm.
Rafinha's always knows where he's such a smart player he knows where to be. Even if Lamine Yamal is trying to shoot, Rafinha is going to be there just in case. And it happens so many times. And in this instance, I mean, that was an incredible pass that Lamine Yamal did to Rafinha, and Rafinha was in really good position. I mean, he could have missed it too, but it was the cross was tougher than it was actually finishing up that play for Rafinha. So Rafinha just feasting on Lamine Yamal, and not just the pass on, but Lamine Yamal is getting so much attention on the right flank, is leaving so many wide open areas on the left. And that goal, the first one, it's a perfect example. Why was Rafinha all of a sudden all by himself done not right? Because everyone is trying to cover Lamine Yamal on the right. He was just a force the whole first half. He couldn't be stopped. I mean, it's crazy to think that this kid is still 18 years old, bro. It's just 18. It just blows my mind. And on the second goal, it was him who picked up the rebound, tried to get the ball, and I think there was a rebound, and then somehow, some way, ended up with Ferran Torres, who just takes the shot. But it was Lamine Yamal who was fighting for that ball at that point. And then obviously the third goal, it was just out of Lionel Messi's playbook. I mean, he's trying to perfect that shot. I don't know if it reminds me so much of Messi, but it certainly reminds me of Robin, because Robin would just cut inside like that with kind of speed and just bang. Like, that was a banger. Like, Leo Messi would just give it a touch instead of the bang. Sometimes he will bang it in, but it reminded me kind of a mix between Messi and Robin. But this is gonna be a thing with Lamine Yamal going forward. I mean, like, I've already predicted that he's gonna be fighting probably for Pichichi, but at least I went I went overboard. I said 30 goals this season, but at least 40 GAs for Lamine Yamal I'm expecting up this season. He's already started with 2.
Yeah, 100. And the thing is, when you've got a player of that caliber, this is the thing. I've said this before. When you've got a player of that quality, you always have to put like 2-3 men onto that man to try and stop him. The only issue is that the other guys will have much more space to run into in it, because they're not going to have as many players onto them, like Rafinha as well. That is something Lamine Yamal as well does. People just talk about his creativity. For me, it ain't just his creativity. The amount of people that he drags with him as well, because the amount of players that will focus on Lamine Yamal. You can have 2 or 3 players. It doesn't matter what team you face, whether it's a mid-table team in La Liga or a Champions League team or one of the big boys. You're always going to have 2 or 3 players focusing on Lamine. That is something that Rafinha now has to, take advantage of. All right, there's space there because more of the players are focusing on him. Let me run in there when he makes these passes. Do you get what I'm saying? That is something that I have to give Lamine Yamal a lot of credit for as well, which is, I think, unbelievable.
No, yeah, it was totally unbelievable. But one of the things about this game, what was very telling is what Hansi Flick said after the game. He was incredibly upset about the team performance in the second half. But I do expect these things to happen, especially on the first game. The team could have played with much more intensity. One of the things that is really catching my eye when it comes to the Barcelona team is just how much Gavi is coming to fruition after that injury that he had for the last couple of years. I mean, Gavi, he's been the best player in the preseason. He came in the second half, played incredibly well. He created one chance. He got the assist on the other. Dani Olmo, by the way, and Fermin Lopez, they both didn't really do much for the team in this one, and that was a big reason why Barcelona just couldn't get the rhythm in the second half, because Dani Olmo, no, even though he hit the woodwork, he did play better than Fermin. Fermin was kind of a mediocre game by Fermin, to be honest. I banged my table for him, and he didn't deliver in this one. And Olmo came in the second half and was a little better, but they still didn't create any chance. So both of them, our number 10s combined for 0 chances created. I mean, you can't have that. Of course, you're going to struggle as a team if these things are going to happen. But Gavi is knocking on the door to try to see if he can earn himself a spot in the starting 11 with Hansi.
But are you counting on Fermin a lot more than what you did last season? Because I can't lie, Dani Olmo, we all know how good of a quality player he is. Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's one of the most talented players, I think, in your squad. My issue with him, I think even you can agree, his injury record is looking very, it's a bit shaken. You don't know it. Do you think he will be able to stay fit this season? Or do you think it's going to be the same old problems? Which means you're going to have to rely on Fermin Lopez even more.
By the way, Julian Alvarez hits a banger as a free kick. That's insane, man. That kid is such a
Oh
stud.
shit! I just seen it. Wow.
Man, he's so good, man. If people don't realize how good he is when at free kicks, he has hitting free kicks like left and right, man. That's incredible. But no, going back to your point, I do expect Olmo to be better in better
Mm.
form this season, but I also expect to see more of Fermin Lopez. I think Fermin Lopez was
Do you
so
see him as an
unlucky.
8 or as a 10? As a common asked you.
As a 10,
What do you?
definitely as a 10. Both of them
Mm.
are going to be 10s. They're not going to be 8s. There's no way. Fermin is too much of an attacker to play at the 8. He's going to struggle at the 8.
Yeah.
But the main thing here, what I would say is like, Fermin, I do expect to see more from him. I think he got incredibly unlucky. I was so unlucky because last season it was his time to shine, and
Yeah.
Barcelona was going after Nico, and the Nico thing fell through. And then, as an emergency signing, which it was not a place of need, we just needed someone to show the fans that we're serious about this season. It
Mm.
was literally like Hansi Flick's only signing, except for Pau Victor. So
Mm.
that really hurt playing time for Fermin Lopez. I think his growth would have been much better by this point. Unfortunately, we don't get that. And now there's this fight between one of them, and they're both maddenly inconsistent. We're trying to make one out of both of them, and it's crazy, man. There's one saying in football, and when I say football, I mean American football, right? They always say this: if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. If you have two receivers, you don't have one. Well, it doesn't work with receivers because you can have more than one receiver, but you get my point. So if you
Yeah.
have two
Yeah.
number 10s, you don't have one because one of them has to be the clear number one, especially when
Mm.
it comes to creation, especially when it comes to being so clinical and deliver time and time again. In my opinion, like if you have two number 10s, you don't have one. That's the main struggle that we had last season. We needed every ounce of Dani Olmo against Inter Milan, and we didn't get it. As a matter of fact, it was actually the other way around. I did score one goal in the second leg, but it was still not enough for me. I needed to see more of Dani Olmo, more of the stuff that I know that he can do. And at the end of the day, that's one of the only questions I have for Barcelona is this number 10 position as far as the center back.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Your defense. Yeah. Because I think if you get some injuries in your defense, I think that could, you know, make some things a bit more difficult to do. But speaking of expectations, you've got, you're walking into the season now. You won every trophy last season apart from what, the Champions League, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the squad that you've got now, what do you expect now from Barcelona this season in terms of league, the domestic cups, and even the Champions League now?
Yeah,
Everything that
so
you have now.
I wish Barcelona would kind of do a little bit of what Real Madrid does. I follow Real Madrid for a very long time, and sometimes it's not that they don't care winning La Liga. Obviously, they do care, but they always go at the Champions League with a little bit more importance, with a little bit more of an emphasis. And I want Barcelona to just kind of think of it in terms of like house money. I want Barcelona to compete for La Liga, to compete for Copa del Rey, to compete for Super Cup. But at the same time, I want them to prioritize the Champions League, especially this Champions League, who I expect to be incredibly tough. I think teams are much better. Teams like Real Madrid, and I'm working on a video. This is why I was telling you this because I've been working on a video, and I've just been realizing now that I have a little bit of a platform that some of these things need to be talked about. Like how is Liverpool and Chelsea and these teams like they literally have a open unlimited credit card to just go buy players and get rid of players and do whatever they want when La Liga has extremely difficult regulations. Barcelona last season, Sam, made almost 1 billion euros in sales and in ticket and everything when it comes to income. Barcelona made almost 1 billion euros, but somehow, some way, is struggling to register a $25 million player. That should never happen in the world of sports.
Have
I
you
mean,
seen La Liga, the amount of players that people are
yeah,
struggling to
Levante
register?
had two players at one point. Getafe had to get rid of their best defender just so that they can register other 12 players that they had on the roster. So they had to get rid of him. And not only had they had to get rid of him, what happens when you have to get rid of something? You're buying at a yard sale price You're not buying at a premium price. You're buying at a yard sale because we know you're trying to get rid of them. Why am I going to give you that much money? So that's what I mean. Like then Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and Barcelona have to go compete with literally a PSG team who it's $1 billion project, Sam. It's $1 billion
Yeah.
project. That's literally a state in Qatar who is funding the whole entire operation, and literally other teams have to compete, especially with the regulations of La Liga. This is totally unfair, in
And
my
this is
opinion.
why
It's
this is
ridiculous.
why you and I have said in that group chat that we're in Footballcast, we've all said they
Hmm.
have to ease down on these regulations. They have to allow La Liga teams to much easier register play. And I'll be rule. Yeah, we need a new president, and not just a president that eases on on these regulations. We need someone that can market this league much better. If you market the league better to a better level, all right, the money will keep flying up. I've said this before. Marketing is so important. I've said this before. Um, Volume. I do not think, Miguel, that the Prem is the best league in terms of quality. I don't think it is. I think La Liga has more quality than the Prem, but the Prem is better marketed than La
Yeah.
Liga, which is
Hmm.
which is listen. I hate to say it, but unfortunately, this is the truth. So if we just have someone that can market this league much better, we will go from here to here in terms of money. More clubs will get even more money, and
Yeah.
then we can actually start. Because let's be honest, mate, La Liga at its peak with Prem up here, bro. La Liga is beating the Prem 9 times out of 10,
And we
especially in
saw
Europe.
and we saw it in the Euro Cup.
Yeah.
The La Liga teams were competing extremely hard in that one, and it was.
Mm.
I think Bilbao made it all the way to the final, right? The Real Sociedad as well. They made it into the semifinals, I believe, or quarterfinals,
Look
something
at
like
the
that. But
records when La Liga teams play Premier League teams. Look at the record. La Liga dominates. It dominates.
yeah, and I totally agree with what you're saying. Like in terms of marketing wise, I think there is something to be said about these kinds of things, and like that's why I'm making this video, and I need to compare and talk about it because this is unfair. Like
Mm.
by the way that the current structure, Premier teams should run away with La Liga teams because just of the way that they can spend the money and how La Liga can't spend money, that alone doesn't put you on the same level of competition or degree of difficulty in the Champions League. And to me, that's my biggest flowers that I'll give to Real Madrid is that they were able to dominate a tournament such as the Champions League um, against teams who basically have an open tab to just buy players and arm themselves with defenders, midfielders, attackers, you name it. And Real Madrid has to play with the regulations of La Liga, and that's
And
one
then
of
if
the
I ask
things
you
that to
this,
me that's crazy to me.
and let's be honest now, if you and I had the spending power of these Prem teams, let's say the regulations were as good as these teams now, all right? Let's say we had as much freedom as them. I promise you right now, mate, you and me, both of us will dominate Champions League. We would
Yeah,
dominate the Champions League. That these Prem teams would find it much harder to win it. Do you get what I'm
yeah,
saying? They
yeah.
would have
No,
to pray for us both being crap for a year for them to even have a chance of winning it. That's how it is.
there should never be. There's got to be a higher level of power that actually it's supposed to be FIFA or UEFA or whatever, but at the same time, how is UEFA not doing anything about the fair play? Because that's my only question. For example, like if you look at the NBA, everyone's playing under the same cap, and I know that's a domestic league, but that's how it should be, especially if we're going to play in the Champions League. How is a
Mm.
team that's worth €1 billion? It's €1 billion project, and how are they competing? And they won the treble or whatever. That's fine. They did a good job. They give them credit, but this every single position in this team is literally one of the best players in the world. That that's
Mm.
that's literally the definition of creating a super team and somehow, some way, going and competing against other teams who doesn't have nearly close to the same regulations. Look at Real Madrid, for example. Last season, they had to play probably with backups to backups on the defensive end. Some players were incredibly injured. Players like Valverde, players like Rudiger. These players were playing with injuries, and
Mm.
they had to. They had to because of La Liga regulations. They couldn't have enough depth. They couldn't spend enough money, and at the end of the day, like it's not how. It's not the same level of difficulty when you see when you're going up against a team like PSG, who's literally stacked. Dude, they have players like Barcola, Dewey at the beginning of the season on the bench, and that's literally crazy, man. This should never be
But
able
what
to
does that tell
happen.
you? But what does that tell you about the strength of La Liga? Do you get me? Nowhere
Yeah,
near the finance or the regulations of these other teams, but you still compete on this level. Now, which is why these teams do not want La Liga to get this power and these easy regulations, because they know if the game field levels out, May, it's good night. It's pretty much adios ciao. Do you get me? For these other teams, and that's what it's pretty much going to be. Yeah, could you imagine City, Liverpool, or Arsenal, these guys, even PSG, going up against us with when we have similar sort of levels when it comes to money and regulations, bro? Half of them, majority of them, sorry, yeah, will get destroyed by you and me. They will.
yeah,
They,
yeah,
they
yeah.
will.
And going back to your question, as far as expectations, I want Barcelona to have a little bit of a more emphasis this season as far as the Champions League, in my opinion. I
Mm.
want us to just win. I really, really think that Barcelona needs to just make it to the final. Like we were so close, man, 90 seconds away. It's just so ridiculous that we
And
didn't
then I
make it
Cherby
back.
of all people.
That was one of the worst heartbreaking losses I've ever had, even worse
Did you
than
blame
all the.
Arojo for that? For that, by the way, because a lot of Barca fans blamed Arojo. The fact that
I
how
don't
Inter
blame
even.
Araujo. I don't blame
Ye-
Araujo because I do tactical videos, so I know exactly what's happening on the field. So Araujo makes a mistake, but I'll explain it real quick because before that play, there's three other mistakes. So Araujo makes the last mistake, but doesn't mean it's his fault.
Mm,
so
mm,
so Dumfries has a one-on-one against Gerard Martin, and Gerard
yeah.
Martin actually makes a good play on the ball, but he
Mm,
trips.
yeah.
So Dumfries trips on that, and so I'm sorry. So Gerard Martin trips. That's mistake number one. At least he should have grabbed them, give up a free kick. Nobody cares. It's the last play of the game. At least one of the last plays of the game. You know how incredibly hard it is to score a free kick. If you're gonna lose or give up or give up the winning goal on a game against a free kick, let it be, because that's
Mm.
that's a ridiculous shot. It's only like, what are the percentages of somebody scoring a free kick, man? That's probably like 2 to 3%. It's not.
His best chance is crossing the ball into the box, pretty much.
Exactly, at best. So you trip. So now you trip. Now you guess what you do? You grab the player. You can't let the
Mm,
player break free. That's one mistake. Another mistake that nobody really talked about, especially when this play happened, was the young. So Gerard Martin trips, right? He trips. Then what happens is Kubarsi has to go mark Dumfries. So when Kubarsi leaves, there's only one center back in the middle of the field, which is Araujo. So
mm,
Kubarsi goes to track down Dumfries. And what should happen in that play is that De Jong was very close inside the box. De Jong needs to close the gap and stay in front of Araujo that he can cover the spacing that Kubarsi is leaving on that play. And I know this is hard to explain just talking to you, but a long story short, so Kubarsi tracks down Dumfries, leaves the spot in the middle. De Jong is right there. He needs to cover the spot from Kubarsi and stay in front of Arasevi. And let's say that hypothetically, De Jong goes and stays in Kubarsi's spot. All he had, Dumfries makes that cross, and De Jong is right there to just get that ball out. But
yeah.
De Jong just stands around. He just stands around. Nobody blamed De Jong, but De Jong he was just standing around because he doesn't have defensive capabilities. He doesn't
Mm,
have the level of IQ when it comes to defending, covering up for the space. And in that play in particular, that was the Gerard Martin makes the first mistake. De Jong makes the second mistake by not covering Kubarsi, who went to track down Dumfries. And then there was the third mistake from Araujo, who's not in front of him and letting the player take the shot. And that's what I mean. Like, that's how difficult it was for us to lose, and we still did it. But there was
mm.
three mistakes on that play. I do not blame Araujo. I don't. I think he was part of the reasons, but
but not the
not
main reason.
entirely. No,
But
no,
not the main reason. No.
not when you're
But
analyzing the goal and look at what
no, no, no.
happened.
But
Yeah.
they, but you will not expect you will not accept so another semi-final loss or anything. It has to be a final this season for you minimum now. With this,
Uh, it's not okay. So the way I look at it is like only one team is going to win the Champions League.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you know how hard it is to be the one team who is going to win it, especially when there's a 300 million euro project in Liverpool, 280 million euro project in Chelsea, and all these teams in the
And even
PSG is
the
like
Real
1 billion.
Madrid, though, and even the Real Madrid, who is
Real
always a
Madrid
difficult
is a
team.
250 200 million euro project right now. That's how much they're spending right now. The Atletico Madrid as well.
Mm.
Everyone's getting better. I think it's going to be tough this season. It's going to be tougher. I think there was some teams like, for example, last Barcelona missed out on an incredible opportunity to get this Champions
Yeah,
League.
yeah.
Liverpool was not there. They got eliminated by PSG. Real Madrid got eliminated by Arsenal. So everything seemed to just lined up. All we had to do is just go past Inter Milan, and they're not known for scoring a ton of goals. They literally they played a perfect game. And Sommer, after the Barcelona game, he's been playing stinkers, man. Like every single game. So I don't get it how he just stopped everything in that game. It was just not our night, man. It was just not our night because they 7 shots, 7 goals for Inter Milan. You can't have that. That's why I thought it was impossible for Inter Milan to go past Barcelona because I didn't think they had it in them to score that many goals. And apparently that I jinxed it because they went 7 for 7, man. What the like that's ridiculous, bro. Like seven
And you
for
know what's
seven.
crazy? I think if you would have reached a final, that Champions League final, I think that would have been the final which you would have seen the most goals ever in a final, like
And I
ever.
would have been okay with losing the final because I would have just been, you know what, we lost to the best team in Europe, and that was PSG. They have an
Mm,
incredible team, incredible
mm.
project. Give them credit. These were the best two teams of the Champions League. We deserve to see this final, no matter who wins. But we were robbed, man. We were robbed of the greatest game of the year, and it was so ridiculous how it had to happen as time it was expiring in that game. It was just ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
I still can't believe how we lost
Nah,
to
bro,
freaking Inter
do
Milan.
you know what that is? That for me, that was 2012 for me. You see that Real Madrid team, how we counted with Mourinho
Yeah.
and all that, bro. When we lost to Bayern Munich, because bro, I was this sure that we were gonna win. Do you know why? And I was like, if we look, just beat
When you
Bayern.
lost to Chelsea, also, I thought that was a really not that it was
Yeah, but,
heartbreaking, but I thought you guys had a
no,
really good team.
but to be fair, that one during the campaign, we were this close to getting knocked out in the group stages. Then we miraculously managed to get to a semi-final, which I gave the club credit for. But again, even though we lost, it was annoying. But it was like, all right, but really and truly, we didn't really deserve to be in a final. Chelsea were much
Yeah.
better. But then the Bayern Munich one, 2012, Ronaldo, Benzema, Di Maria, Higuain, Ozil, all this. When we had that team, when we lost to Bayern, I was like, we were one game away because I was this sure. If we played Chelsea in the final, we would have beaten them. It would have been
Hmm.
difficult, but I was this sure we would have been. That was probably the worst. I haven't. I'm still pissed yet to this day, even though I've seen what 6 Champions League, La Decima, La Duodecima, everything since then. It still haunts me to this day. I think this is one night that Barcelona fans, no matter what happens, every time they see this, is gonna be like this year.
Yeah,
That
and
was
when
because
Rafinha scored, man.
you can't get much more heartbreaks than that, can you, Miguel? Let's just be honest. You
Yeah,
can't.
when Rafinha scored the 3-2, I
I thought it
mean,
was over.
we all thought it was over. I even saw tweets from Real Madrid accounts, just in disbelief that
Mm,
Barcelona was making it through, and it didn't. So I mean, at the end of the day, it goes to show you like the Champions League. That's why I don't know. I don't know how Real Madrid, man. I don't know how they did it every single time. 15 Champions Leagues, and these type of competitions are so tough because anything can happen, bro. An injury, a penalty, Araujo the season before that, slides on Barcola.
oh, connection. Flipping out.
Hey, was that
I
me?
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
would like it.
So I was
Continue,
saying
continue, man.
for
Continue.
example, like Barcola, right? He slides, it's a slide tackle, the last man on Barcola and not last season, but the season before that. Araujo made the mistake. That's a red. And then now like you're playing with 10 men on the most important game of the season. These things sort of happen sometimes, and the
Mm.
fact that you have to be so perfect game in and game out when it comes to Champions League, World Cup style. When there is the knockout stages, though there's a 2 game tie, so there's a little bit more room for errors. But at the end of the day, like a little things can happen and swing one thing to another, and not always the best team wins, man. Barcelona had incredible teams between 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, when we had Neymar, we had Suarez, we have Messi. We look hands down like the best team in Europe, scoring 3, 4, 5 goals, and not just the way that, not how many goals we were scoring, just how the team
But
looked.
how you were
Like
playing,
we
yeah.
were so dominating, we're dominating every single game, and we only have like 1, 2 Champions League to show for it. So
Is this a
it's
mentality
so
issue? Do you think?
difficult, bro. It's
Do
so
you think it's a
difficult.
mentality? Do you think this is a mental issue at Barcelona when it comes to the Champions
You
League?
know what? I don't see it as a mental issue. I see it as a strategy issue. Because if you look at historically Barcelona, they like to play good football. They like
Yeah.
to play beautiful football. They take a lot of pride into just giving you the best product when it comes to watching football itself. So it's not that they don't care about winning, but winning is the product of playing good football for Barcelona.
Mm.
Barcelona is football first, and then the product will show. The silverware will show up itself. Real Madrid is the other way around. Real
Yeah,
Madrid is
winning
silverware
first.
first, and then playing well is later. So as
Mm.
long as we win, as long as we get the result, and Real Madrid is very smart, and that's exactly the mentality that you need to win these type of tournaments. Because I mean, Real Madrid is exhibit A. I mean, they say, you know what? We have a good team. We're gonna pin our ears. We're gonna play defense, and we're gonna counter. We're gonna
Mm.
counter you with Vinicius. We're gonna counter you with Gareth Bale, with Cristiano Ronaldo, with Benzema. Incredible players, fantastic players. But they play you with a different way. It's not a surprise that Inter Milan has made it to the finals of the UEFA Champions League twice in the last 3 years. Why do they? How can they do that? Well, that's the blueprint. You play defense and then you counter. If you
And that is
haven't,
something I have said about Barca before. I think sometimes, not that I'm
it
criticizing you for
doesn't
playing
suit
good football.
Barca at all.
No, but I think Barcelona sometimes, I think what they has to do sometimes is when you're leading, do you get me? When you're actually and you don't need to go up. That is one thing I've said about Flick as well. Sometimes just ease back a little bit. Do you get me? Just let them come, all right? Because then if they lose the ball, 1, 2 quick passes up front, yeah, and you're away. Because you've got quick forwards. Let's be honest. You
Yeah,
ain't got
and
slow forwards.
it's not like we don't know this. Like if we look at last season, the bloodbath game, the against Atletico Madrid,
Mm,
at the Montjuic Stadium,
mm.
it was 4-4. That game was ridiculous, man. I mean, 4-4
It should have
in the
never ever gone to that. Yeah.
Copa del Rey, in the Copa del Rey. But here's the thing. This is what I'm going to tell you. At the Metropolitano for the second leg, Barcelona gets a score first in the first half, 1-0. And what did they do? They play defense. We didn't play the high line in that game. We won that game like Real Madrid football style. We
Mm.
defended, we pinned our ears, we brought in Araujo, we played with a line of 5. Inigo Martinez, Araujo, Kunde, Balde, Kubarsi. It was 5 defenders. And you know what? Araujo came in that second half and was a force, man. He was so physical every single play, every single cross. He was intercepting, playing extremely well, because that's the kind of football that he knows how to play. When you're actually playing defensive, that's when Araujo can thrive. And we did that. We got the result. It was 1-0. Like we came from a goals in the first game, and the second goal it was just 1-0. We won.
Mm.
It wasn't sexy. It wasn't like the
Defensive masterclass,
showcase
pretty much.
football, but we got it done, dude. And we couldn't
Yeah.
do that again. That's my only thing that I'm all like, if I could ask Hansi Flick one question in my life, why didn't we play the way we played against Atletico in the second leg in the last 30. I mean, I was saying the last 5 minutes of the game against Inter Milan. I
Yeah,
just
because
don't
he did the
understand.
same thing even when you went 3-2 up with Rafinha. He still kept playing the I'm like I'm sitting there going, mate, if they put one good through ball, they're in again. Why would you even take that risk? Do
Inter
you get me?
Milan doesn't have the creativity to break
No.
you if you have a line of 5 defenders in the back. How are they gonna get through? They don't
They're
have.
just gonna cross the ball. That's all they're gonna do. Just cross the ball.
We played right into their hands, and that's
Yeah.
that's 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 my only knock on Hansi Flick last season. Is like I feel like we played right into their hands, and that's the way it is when it comes to UEFA Champions League. You need a little bit of
Yeah.
luck. You need to go 7-for-7 against Barcelona. You need to have Barcelona play right into your hands. Not play smart football. Not play not have enough adjustments. Now,
Mm.
with all of that being said, we were winning that game with 90 seconds to go. We were down our fullbacks, Kunde and Balde. We had those two. This doesn't happen, in my opinion. I don't think this would have happened. I think we would have played better. I think Gerard Martin got dominated in this game, and at the end of the day, that's all she wrote, man. Unfortunately,
Mm. Yeah,
yeah.
100%. No, 100%, man. I agree. Man, them, before we continue on, just smash these likes up, yeah. And listen, but Miguel Sano, yeah, Barcelona, yeah, I've pinned it in the top of the chat, yeah. So you can't miss it. Go and drop my man a sub, yeah. He's close to 3,000 subs.
Thank you,
So just
thank you.
get him there
and
as quick as possible, people.
and I'll tell you, in terms of expectations, I do
Mm,
expect Barcelona to make it to the semifinals. As tough as it's gonna be, I think
mm.
Barcelona will be one of the better teams in Europe next season.
I
I
agree with that.
expect Real Madrid to be just a tier before. Now I don't know if Real Madrid will get just better performance in the Champions League or just make it further than Barcelona. But going into the season, I see PSG, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Barcelona as the top clubs,
Mm.
and I think Real Madrid is just below Barcelona with Arsenal. But I think that we should make it to the semifinals. At least we should be fighting for this trophy until the very end, as far as
Mm.
expectations go. But after that, man, anything can happen in the semifinals, man. Any team can do it.
No, of
Borussia
course, of
Dortmund
course.
made it to the final against Real Madrid in their last title, right? So you never know when a team is on a mission and make a run. I thought it was Barcelona last season. We weren't. But in terms of La Liga, though, I do expect Barcelona to win back-to-back La Liga. I think Real Madrid wins Copa del Rey and maybe Super Cup as well. I don't see Real Madrid winning La Liga only because it's a long game, and in a long game, the best team wins,
Oh
and
no,
that's
no,
all.
trust me. The only reason I will even pick Real Madrid to win La Liga, and listen, I said on Will's channel, yeah, go subscribe to my man. But I
Hmm.
said Barcelona, and I was objective. Yeah, I've warned every person that watches my channel. I'm not gonna be one biased geezer. That's not what I am. I am an objective man, and I will
Hmm.
say what I actually believe. And I'm gonna say this right now until what I've seen from preseason, yeah, we're gonna get to Real Madrid now in a second, yeah. But what I've seen, I like, but I need to see that now in La Liga, and I need to see that in a consistent base, all right, number of games, number of
Hmm.
game weeks, and I need to see that against you guys and against Atleti. If I can see that there, then all right, we can have a conversation. But then I think even your stance then could change to, okay, do you know what? This could actually get a bit more tougher now than what I expected. Because let's be honest, Miguel, I don't even think you expected Flick to do what he did last season before the season even
Absolutely
opened.
not.
No,
Absolutely not.
and that's the point. People need to start understanding that as well. But I'm not gonna sit here and do what I do. Before we go on to the next topic, are you worried? Because this is a question someone wanted me to ask you. Are you worried about your centre back situation, especially because some people have been saying in your fan base, Arojo, even though he did play well against the Athletic game, he's not really suited to play Flick's type of football if he's just gonna keep doing this high line stuff. They're even worried now. Ingo Martinez is gone. If one of your centre backs now, listen, God forbid this happens, but if one of them does get an injury and they're out for a sustained period of time, are you worried that your defense could, shrink to a degree?
Hmm. Yeah. So I think it's a great question. I think in terms of last season, I remember, right, because that's why I like going back. In terms of last season, a lot of people forget that the two center backs that Hansi Flick had picked when he came into the team was Araujo and Kubarsi. He wanted these two to play next last season. Araujo got injured like 2, 3 games into the season. He was out for like 2 months, and then Inigo Martinez, who was acquired from Bilbao as a backup,
Mm.
just excuse me, just light it on fire. And he came on, and nobody expected to do what he did. And he never looked back. And he didn't. Unfortunately, Araujo lost his spot, but Araujo is regarded as a great center back. I think he's a moments guy. I think I'm trying to think of Real Madrid player who performs okay or pretty well, but gets criticized every single time he makes one mistake. Maybe it's Vinicius. Maybe I don't know. I can't think of it one right top of my head. But what I'm telling you is, I think Araujo gets it's grossly underrated.
Mendy
Because
used to be one of them. Ferland
yeah,
Mendy, he used to be one of them. I remember that.
I think so. And what I mean by this is, like, a lot of fans, and I see them on my comments, I see them on my live streams. They say that Araujo, even in my post game show, Araujo had a 7.6. I thought he played okay in this one against
Mm.
Mallorca, but he did make too many fouls. Okay, so he was too strong. He was a little bit like he gets on his way sometimes, but he's fast. He's got speed. He's got size. He's a good defender all throughout, and people were bashing him without even making a mistake. He didn't make no mistakes.
Mm.
He did. I think he got a yellow. Maybe he got a yellow. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he should have got a yellow. I don't know. But what I'm saying to you is,
Mm.
he have a good game last time, and people were bashing him. So I do see a lot of overreaction when it comes to Araujo.
Is
I
he a
know.
scapegoat pretty much? Would you say?
Yeah, so I do see Barcelona. I think we got a little. I think we are a little worse than we were at the beginning of this season before the Inigo Martinez departure. I
Mm.
think Inigo Martinez understood the highline to perfection, but who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe that was the blessing in the sky, because maybe Hansi Flick will be forced to try to change the highline, because sometimes the highline gets us in trouble, and sometimes maybe we'll have to make some adjustments, and that may be a good thing for Araujo. But Araujo, man, I've been on record on my channel. I said, you know what, Araujo needs to try golf, or he needs to try Atletico Madrid, or he needs to try Getafe. I don't care. Somebody who can play with the low block, that he can thrive and maybe good at Juventus or whatever. Because Barcelona and the highline, man, he just doesn't get it. And I said this because I saw on the preseason where he was trying to stutter around that line,
Yeah.
and dude, he was the only one past the line. You're the only one past the line, dude. Why are you trying to get back to the line that you're drawing way deep? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
No.
the line is like it's like 2 yards out from you, and you're trying like play the dance on the highland. That doesn't make any sense, bro. And
Mm.
I was fuming, and I said that. But after you calm down, you go and say, you know what, I'm not too concerned to answer your question, because look, this team is so deep. People forget Kubarsi and Eddie Garcia. They're not the tallest players, okay? But
No.
they did play the Olympics together with Spain. They have a lot of chemistry together. They know how to play with each other. They know how to bounce off each other. I think if we have to, if we absolutely have to, we would have to play Eric and Kubarsi. That would be probably as an emergency break glass, right?
Yeah.
Because we still
Yeah.
have Christensen, and I actually been on the bandwagon for Christensen. I think Christensen is the better player for. But I said this after Hansi Flick did what he did with Barcelona last season. I created a slogan, and in Flick we trust. And whatever
Mm.
Flick decides, I'm going with it. I'm rolling with it, and I'm dying with it. And he wants to have Araujo there, I'm fine. I'm just gonna trust what he's doing, and I'm just gonna say, you know what? At the end of the day, we have to die on this ship, and we have to sink with the ship or whatever. But now that Inigo left, we need every ounce of Araujo. Because if we didn't
Mm.
have Araujo, we have Christensen, and if Christensen gets injured, now we have Eddie Garcia, and that's my break only in case of emergency. Like, I don't want to get to that point to where we're playing with Eddie Garcia and Kubarsi. So I am a little worried, but overall, the fact that we have a player who 2 years ago with Xavi Hernandez was regarded as one of the best center backs, and that we literally could have gotten 90 million euros for him in Araujo. There's a good player somewhere in there, and I'm trusting Flick to get it out. I'm still not worried just because we have Christensen and we have Eric Garcia.
Mm. No, 100%. Um, and all that, 100%. But listen, we're gonna see. Time will tell. Time will actually tell how crucial that backline will be, and who can perform, who can't perform, who will actually be beneficial,
Hmm.
who will not be. Um, Obviously, I'm gonna ask you this as well about my club. Since we play in the same league, we've got a game against Osasuna now on Tuesday, but not only that game, just overall and during that game. What do you expect from Madrid this season, in that game, and
Yeah.
then in general as well? Like coming from Madrid, what do you think Madrid needs to focus on? What do you think is our strengths? What do you think we're gonna have to have a challenge for to try and complete in order to get better, to have a chance of winning La Liga or even the Champions League this season? In your opinion?
Yeah, so during the Club World Cup, I was really worried that the news broke and that Real Madrid was going to go after 100 million euros attacking midfielder. I don't
Mm.
know if you remember that during the Club World Cup, there was rumors
Who
about that.
reported that? Who reported that?
Everyone was reporting like Real Madrid. In I think it was Real Madrid. A couple of Real Madrid accounts that are actually like
Madrid
informative,
Extra or Madrid Zone?
something like that. And
Yeah, yeah.
also, I think somebody else. I think it was Mundo Deportivo. Fernando Polo, who no, he's pretty respected in Spain. But what I'm telling you is, when the news broke, I was actually really worried because I thought that if there's one thing that Real Madrid needed from last season was a creative midfielder. And I know there it seems right now there's a little bit of illusion that is going to be Arda Guler. Now, it is. I do think I see him as an answer to the problems from Real Madrid creativity in the midfield. I think Arda Güler and Mbappe are playing extremely well together from what I've seen. The last game they played what their link up play was really really good. I was very impressed. Now I do regard Arda Güler as an incredible, fantastic player. I've said this.
Mhm.
I made a video about him on my channel like maybe 3 to 4 months ago when I was going on a rant saying that Real Madrid was making a mistake, not putting in Arda Güler, that they were just wasting this player. And now look,
Oh
I've
yeah,
been proven right.
thank you, Carlo, thank you. Mm. Who
Yeah,
who knew? Who knew?
who
Nah,
would
who
have
knew?
thought, right? Every
Yeah, who would
everyone
have
and their
thought?
mother knew that Arda Güler was the answer,
But
except
now,
for him.
Miguel, let's play fucking Bellingham up there when we could all see he was never gonna work and had a flipping shoulder
Uh,
injury. No.
Ancelotti is a good coach, but he reminds me of this saying in the NFL. This is why I like watching other sports because I get more perspective from different
Mm,
places. And
mm,
like they say this, and this is very true in the world of sports, and especially in the NFL. It says coaches don't want to win; they want to win their way,
yeah.
and that's kind of a saying in the NFL, and that goes to speak on volumes about how coaches they are so egocentric and they don't want to just win; they want to win their way, and that's the way they do it, man. And
Hmm.
I think that's exactly Ancelotti ball. He doesn't just want to win; he wants to win his way. And if his way is having Arda Güler in the bench, well, let it be because we're having Arda Güler on the bench. So that's the one knock on Ancelotti. But
Because you
uh,
did say that you were worried about the Mbappe Arda Güler chemistry. That was one thing you have said multiple times, that you're finding that a bit worrisome. The fact that these
no,
two are
no,
finding this
not the Arda
connection.
Güler Mbappe one. I was worried about the Vinicius Mbappe one. That's the one question
Oh no,
mark.
no, no. That's in the bad. But what is worrying for other teams playing Real Madrid? Arda Güler and Mbappe, starting to find this chemistry that you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
saying.
that's what I'm saying. Like that, what I noticed though was that Arda Güler and Mbappe are playing extremely well. They know how to play with each other now. It seems like there's a chemistry they're developing that's very, very good for Real Madrid. But I think in terms of Real Madrid for this season, I think it's going to be really tough to compete with Barcelona when it comes to La Liga because La Liga is a marathon, and La
Mm,
Liga is literally, for example, like in the NBA the best NBA team doesn't always win, and the one who's on first place because for example, like this year was an anomaly where the I think it was the Oklahoma City Thunder won the championship
mm.
because they finished first. But last season they finished first and they were eliminated on the first round of the playoffs. And what happens? Because in the playoffs, other teams that are not they know how to pace themselves. They know how to pace. Then I'm not trying to be first. I'm just trying to get healthy. And the better teams, the more veterans, what they'll do is they'll turn it up in the playoffs and they'll play more physical. And these other teams who have been just cruising on first place, they lose because they're younger, they don't know how to play, they know how to pace themselves, and it's more of a marathon. And the same thing happens in La Liga. It is La Liga, it's just a marathon, man. You just have to know how to win. And the best team is always going to win La Liga. And I feel that Barcelona, even though they have a few question marks, they have a lot less questions than Real Madrid. Because I can look, I can say, Real Madrid is Xavi Alonso good enough for Real Madrid? You guys say that he is. We saw that he played an undefeated season. We saw that he put Leverkusen on the map. That's fine, but we don't know. Can he win a Champions League? We don't know. That's a fact. We don't know it until he does. We have no idea. So
Yeah.
not just that, but also, is he going to be able to manage Vinicius and Mbappe? Is he going to make them press? Because I see that his style, he wants to press just like Barcelona. Yeah. Real Madrid with Xavi Alonso, it's literally like Hansi Flick same style. They want to play basically with now they are playing the two at front, but they wanted to play with three at the beginning. So now Rodrigo's out. They're playing with two, but they want to do high pressing. They want to possess the ball. And are Real Madrid going to be able to press, play defense? Can Mbappe play defense? Can Vinicius play defense? Can they even play together? So these are a lot of question marks that, in my opinion...
If I ask you this, if let's say Man City does not get Rodrigo this season, let's say Vini is playing poor, all right? He's dropping Vinny now. Let's say after a couple of games, he's dropping him, saying, okay, now I've had enough of your bullshit. You're there. Now he's bringing Rodrigo on, and now he's playing with Kylian. Then you've got whoever it is on the right wing then, all right? Let's say you've got Mbappe, Rodrigo, even, let's say Brahim, or even if he wants to play Franco there, yeah? There's options. And then he's got Arda Güler in the 10. Do you think that will be something that could suit the team much, much more, in your opinion? Because I would rather try that if Vinny keeps dropping stinkers like this, man.
Why would you change again? Sorry,
I would change if you're gonna play this whole Vinny, Mbappe, Brahim, and then Güler in the midfield and him doing the creation. I would rather than him.
You want to start Brahim Diaz? You want to start?
No. I'm saying you drop Vinny. Yeah, you drop Vinny. You put Rodrigo there because I think him and Mbappe works much better together. Yeah. Much better together. And then even if you don't want to play Brahim, yeah, you can take him out. You can put, you could even put probably Gonzalo Garcia there. Give him a shot because again, that is a target man as well in the box. Then you've got something else you can do as well, or you can even play Franco there. There's options.
Yeah. I mean, Real Madrid has a lot of things they can work, that they can make work. But these things, Sam, they're easier said than done, because are you going to have the guts to literally bench Vinicius? Vinicius has an incredible fan base as well. You guys going to get a lot of heat if you bench him. He's done so many things. You heard Will how much he raves about Vinicius Jr. and how he thinks.
But Will did say, to be fair, I listened to the Galactico podcast. He said he's got 3 games. If he messes up in the first 3, he's benched for him.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I didn't hear that. But what I will say though is, it's obvious that Rodrigo and Mbappe work together so much better. Even in the second half against in the last game,
Tirol.
Tirol. But Tirol, in that game, like in 25 minutes, you already see more chemistry than Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. the whole game. So to me, like it's 2 + 2, and Real Madrid just needs to do the math and say, you know what, if Real Madrid gets rid of Rodrigo, I'm gonna be the first to celebrate. Because I think Real Madrid has a lifeline in Rodrigo, and when Rodrigo gets his opportunity to really take over this team, I think that Real Madrid can be back. And I don't want that. So I want Rodrigo to go to Manchester City or go somewhere else. As a Barcelona fan, I'm telling you, I'd rather that you guys keep Vinicius, because I know that this chemistry doesn't work. Another question mark that I have is, I thought you guys needed another center back. I think that you guys are relying on 2 years off Militao, who seems to be back. He scored the other day. He played good defense. I think he played a little bit in the Club World Cup. He looked good.
Mm.
But you guys are relying on somebody like that. It's like us relying on Mark Bernal. Mark Bernal just came off an ACL, and we need to ease him back. But he's not going to play probably till October. And you guys
Do
are
you know
now
what? I have
relying
a
on
hot
Militao.
take when it comes to Bernal. You've not been there in both. I've seen this on two. I've said this on two Football Chaos streams. You haven't even been there. In my opinion, yeah. Feel free to give your thoughts on my take now. Hot take. I think Bernal's talent and his ability. I think it's bigger than Pedri's.
Uh,
I genuinely think that's how good.
the
That's how high I rate
problem
him.
with that analysis is that they're two different players. They're not the same
No, no,
profile.
that's true. That's fine. But I think I
That would
think
be
his
that would
talent.
be that would be like if I was comparing Iniesta with Busquets, because they
That's
are
true.
totally different players. You can't really Busquets can't do what Iniesta magic that he does, and Iniesta can't do the defensive
But I do
capabilities.
think this. I think he can become. I think he can become the best at his position. Bernal. That's how good I
Yeah.
think he
No,
is.
Bernal is incredible. The first time I saw him last season, he popped out of my screaming. Like I couldn't believe how good he was, how good he was at everything on the ball. Like if you're good at
Controlling.
defending
Yeah.
normally you're not
Mm.
that good on the ball. You're not that good at creating a passing. You're not that good because you concentrate so much on just being a much better sound defender that you're not, a lot of times you don't put a lot of emphasis into other areas of the game. He's a complete footballer, man. Like the way if you saw Prime Busquets, he really reminds me of Prime
Mm.
Busquets because Busquets had a thing where he can do a spin around and was really good in the build-up play, but also incredibly great defending. It was like an
Yeah.
all-around player. Now Marc Bernal, his ceiling looks to be probably higher than Busquets. He can do a lot better things than Busquets. I mean, Barcelona, I mean, can be really scary in the next couple of years, especially if we get back to the 1-1 rule and we can really spend more money next season. I think Barcelona next season will be. I'm gonna put it to you like this: next season, I'm expecting Barcelona to really, really go hard on the Champions League. I think this season we're gonna compete, but I think next season we will be better, much
So you
better.
think next season? Would you take next season then? If you don't win it this season, would you take the Champions League over La Liga next season?
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. That to me, I think
Mm.
next season we're gonna have Mark Bernal back. I don't know the ceiling and how good Gavi will be at that time. The jury this season is going to tell us a lot about Gavi this season. But
Yeah,
next
because of
season
that
we have
ACO. Yeah.
we have a 19-year-old Lamine Yamal who
Mm.
prime it's coming. That prime is going to be coming very 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 soon. He's going to be 19 years old next season. We are going to have probably Isaac or Alvarez at number 9. We're gonna have Rafinha still. If we don't have Rafinha, if he goes to
Not
Saudi,
not
then we
not
may
Erling
have.
Haaland. Not
Uh,
Erling Haaland.
I think it's unrealistic. I think Haaland kind of closed the doors on an exit when he signed that 10-year deal. I mean, that 10-year deal was ridiculous. I don't see how Barcelona can get. It's so crazy, especially for teams like Barcelona. Man, they need to get players who want to be sold. They can't get players who need to be persuaded into leaving just because they
Mm.
don't have the kind of money. Barcelona are not gonna have enough money to kind of convince Haaland to come to Barcelona. I
I
don't
think the
think
only
so.
way you can get Isak is if he stays at Newcastle this season. That's if they do not
Yeah,
accept
so far so
Liverpool's bid.
good. So far so good. Me too. I think the same thing, but I think in a couple of years Barcelona will be better than now. So that I texted Will and I said this. I think I said it on the chat. This has to be Real Madrid season because Barcelona will be much better next season. So
Mm.
I think this is the season to get for Real Madrid to get back into La Liga, to get back into Copa del Rey, Super Cup. Who knows what they'll do in the Champions League? It's always
I think
unpredictable. But
Real
I think
Madrid.
Barcelona is just going to be so much better
Yeah,
next
because
season.
I think Real Madrid even made it clear that next season, let's say we have a good season this season, they're still gonna go out and try and get another centre back. They will try and get that
Yeah,
creative,
yeah.
deep line playmaker. If we can
And
do that,
Barcelona has to do the same thing.
yeah, and if
Barcelona
and
has
if
to.
if both of our clubs can do that, then I will say this. I think we can. I think you see the era when you and when both our clubs were dominating Europe. I think
Yeah,
we can start talking about that era now. We can. I think
yeah,
we can start slowly but surely talking about that. And listen, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's better for La Liga if you and I can just start dominating again, bro. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
yeah. And it's a lot of fun for everybody. It creates a great
Mm.
sport,
But that's football at
yeah.
its best.
And just to get back to your question, I
Mm.
think Real Madrid has those question marks when it comes to the center back position, the Rodrigo situation. What about the attacking midfielder? It seems like we still, if I was a Real Madrid, I'm thinking to myself, we have the same problem we had last year. We haven't solved it in the offseason. We still don't have a creative midfielder. Now, we do have the Arda Guler, but now are we relying on Arda Guler, a young player? Does he have what it takes to,
But to be fair,
uh,
you are relying on Lamine Yamal, who's
yeah,
19 years
but
old.
he's
Because if
already,
if I get that he's already proven himself, but if something happens to him, who do you have that can replace that quality? Do you get what I'm saying? I
no, no,
understand the Goulet thing.
I get that. So when I mean by what I'm not worried about Lamine is because ever since he was 16 years old,
Mm.
this kid was lighting it up, man. And this kid is already here. This kid has arrived. It doesn't matter. You put the 19 jersey, you put the 10 jersey. It does not matter. He's gonna do what he does. The way that his game, it's so hard to stop. That it's so hard for him to just not be good at what he does every
Mm.
single game. And the one thing I will say is Arda Guler is already starting very very good, but I still have my questions. Can he carry Real Madrid? Because I think if he can carry Real Madrid, he may be the answer for this season. But the problem is, for example, I don't know if it was because he wasn't getting enough playing time, but he played
Mm.
against Barcelona. He didn't do anything. He was he was suffocated, man. Like he couldn't create. He couldn't really do much. He couldn't
The
put his
issue
team on his
is,
back.
and
And and
go on, go on.
and that's my question mark. When the rubber needs to meet the road, does Arda Guler have what it takes? And maybe he does. I'm not saying he doesn't. All I'm saying is he has to have it. And Real Madrid has to get that from him if they want to go places next season. And to me, all I'm saying is it's a question mark. At the very least,
I, th-
it's
I,
a
th- I think
question
the
mark.
issue for him that final was he got played in a position where he should have never ever been at. Do you get me?
Yeah,
And I think the
probably.
team was so dysfunctioned. Nothing was working. Nothing. And I think he even did quite well for this period of time that he came in. But I think Arda Güler under a manager that really plays him to strip, plays him in his position and his good team. If the team can drill well together and he can keeping this connection up with Kylian Mbappe and he can keep this up for a whole season and then he can prove even for next season that he can keep this form going on, then I think we've got a player for the next 7, 8 years, maybe even 10 years that you can rely on. Say, hey, I'm gonna perform no matter what. Do you get me? Like you've got with Lamine Yamal. That is something that we need to start looking for as well because it can't just always be, do you get me, just one guy.
Yeah, 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 and that's what I mean. For example, right? Of course, it's not going to be apples to apples, but let's say, to me, if Arda Guler can carry Real Madrid, then he's the answer. The Real Madrid got lucky there, but if he's not, you guys are right back where you were last year. That's my only problem with him. And for example, right, like, of course, if injuries happen, whether that's Arda Guler, whether that's Mbappe, whether that's Jamal, whether that is Rafinha, the teams are not going to be the same. The teams are going to suffer. That they are the star of the team for one reason. But when
Mm.
you talk about that's why I don't talk about injuries. I talk about performances. And that's my only question about Arda Guler. Can he perform day in and day out every single day for a whole year the way that Real Madrid needs him to? Maybe yes, maybe no. But at the very least, like I said, it's another question mark in my opinion. In my opinion, why I'm not worried about Lamine is because I think Lamine already showed that he can play the whole year, a whole season, a whole two season in an incredible rhythm. And that's why I'm taking Barcelona over Real Madrid because I think just Real Madrid have a few questions. I do like their signings. I think Carreras did an incredible job against Lamine Yamal in 2 games they played against each other. I think 2 out of 3 he has done a good job. I think one game Lamine Yamal got the best of him, and on the other one it was Rafinha who got the best of Carreras. And that last goal, that was a 5-4 game in the Champions League. And also I think Trent will be a good addition on the build-up play, but he's not as good on defense as people think he is. So I do sound kind of a broken record. It's not that I want to raise all these questions. All I'm saying is, uh, the one question I needed answer, in my opinion, to be really scared about the Real Madrid team next season, it was going to be the attacking midfielder. Whether that was going to be an Enzo Fernandez, whether that was going to be McAllister, or if that was even Tiller. To be honest, I think
Stiller, yeah,
he
yeah.
is Stiller. Yeah, Stiller. I think he would have added a whole new dynamic to this team. And I still, like I said, I still have my questions. I know the Real Madrid is going to compete. I don't expect them to go back-to-back trophy lists. Definitely not. As a
Mm.
matter of fact, they may win Copa del Rey and Super Cup. But I just don't see them winning La Liga. I think Barcelona is in better position right now as we speak
Mm.
to win La
Mm.
Liga.
What do you think of Franco potentially?
Franco Mastantuono has a great ceiling. I've seen him played. I watched two games because he's from Argentina. I like Argentina because of Messi, so I kind of follow it
Mm.
up a little bit. He's still raw. I mean, I watched him at the Club World Cup, and I didn't think he looked that good. I mean, he looks fine, but he doesn't look that good because I saw him playing up against, for example, Inter Milan, and Inter Milan, every time he was trying to do something, they were just standing right in front of him, getting the ball from him. He looked like a kid playing up against a grown man in pickup ball. Like he's still not good enough. I think he will benefit from Real Madrid. Maybe this season he may play, he may not, but I don't think he's ready yet. I think in terms of maybe next season or the following season, maybe. I mean, people see Lamine at 17 and think that any 17-year-old can just go out and ball out, and it's not that easy, man. It takes time, it takes yelling, and it takes a lot of experience. And I think Masantuno is a good player, but I don't think he's ready right now.
Mm. Nah,
Yeah.
100%. With Franco, I am gonna be a bit patient with it because I know a lot of people are gonna, you know, do this little hype thing, and I'm gonna wait and see for his development, how he performs. If he can come in and he can start smashing it, listen, I
Hmm.
think just that's gonna be just a bigger just adjustment for our squad, and it will just help us much
Hmm.
much more. But brother, before we leave in it, yeah. Final thing, your predictions then for this season, pretty much. We'll start with your club, then you can go on to mine. And I've pretty much given my thoughts on these things before, but
Yeah.
go on, brother.
So when you say predictions, you mean like every single title or what?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Barcelona next season, uh, I have high standards. Hansi Flick has spoiled me. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, man. I have Barcelona winning La Liga and the Champions League next season.
That's
But probably more realistically, the following season, I would say, okay, I'll say this. In the next 2 years, Barcelona will win a Champions League. In the
if
next 2 years.
if they don't, is it a failure for you?
Yes, 1000%. Because not because what I said, I think that the following season we'll have a much older Lamine Yamal. We have a much
Mm.
older Lamine Yamal. We would have a better financial status to get better at the 9. We're gonna get better at the CB. So we'll get Kubarsi, another prolific defender who can play next to him. And in the next 2 years, Barcelona wins the Champions League with Lamine Yamal. Definitely, 100%.
Mm. Nah.
I know people are
But
gonna hate it. I know people are gonna hate it. People are gonna say that
nah,
it's
listen, it's your
crazy,
opinion,
but
brother.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Like I that's the level of expectations that I have for Lamine Yamal. And you know what? I've said this already. I think Lamine Yamal will win the Ballon d'Or next season.
Oh, do you know what? If you have a similar season this season to what you are next season,
Well,
I
he's
think
gonna
I
have an
think
incredible opportunity to win the World Cup. The World Cup
yeah.
always decides who wins these things, and
Yeah,
I think
I
he'll probably
forgot. I
win it next
forgot
year.
about the World Cup. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about. And we've actually speaking of, we've actually got a player as well that we have. Name I think his name was Thiago. in our Castilla. They were talking about him being the Vitinho Pedri type of player for us as well. I think if he can fill in that gap as well, man, I can't like that deep line playmaking creativity
Mhm.
thing. That role can be fixed for us, man. But listen, hopefully he can. Hopefully, if that is true, he can deliver, man. Because then that would just make everything 10 times more easier. Miguel, before we go, brother, what you got coming up, mate?
Yeah, no. So I got all kinds of stuff, man. I'm doing a pregame show one day before the game, which will be Friday. I also got a post game show right after the game. But in between, dude, I'm always uploading content. I got a tactical video coming up on Tuesday. I have this other video that's probably coming up tomorrow about the restrictions and the financial fair play between teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, and PSG, and what Barcelona and Real Madrid have to compete with. And I think it shines a light on how unfair it is to compete against these teams in an international trophy like the UEFA Champions League. So there's all kinds of stuff coming up in my channel, man. But this has been a great conversation. But what are your expectations this season? You didn't get to that, did you?
To be fair, I've given them lots of things before, but I can give them to you now. My expectations, we have to win one of the major ones. I keep it the same. It doesn't matter if Barcelona is bad. It doesn't matter if Liverpool, the transfer window they've had. I keep it the same. I've been a Madridista since what 2006, 2007 season. I fell in love with this club, and listen, the standards for me have always been the same. You have to win one of the major ones. You have to win one of the major ones. So either the league or the Champions League. If you can even win if you can win the Copa del Rey with it as well, hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. But you cannot do what happened last season. That will be unacceptable for me.
So do you think that if Real Madrid doesn't win La Liga or the Champions League, you will be upset?
I would argue that the manager might have to be sacked.
Even if he wins Copa del Rey and Super Cup?
The only way then I can accept it is if you go to the final day against Barcelona. Or if you get to a Champions League semi, then I'm like, okay, I'll give you another season. But then I
Okay.
want even more back in. But if not, then like Dave said, chop chop.
It's definitely it's definitely a fair point because to me, like I said, the jury is still out on Xavi Alonso.
Mm.
Espanyol is winning, no way. Is beating Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, they are.
That is funny, bro.
And by the
No
way, what did I tell you? What did I tell
way.
you about Diego Simeone? What did I tell you?
180 million euros just to lose to relegation Espanyol, bro.
Bro, if I am Atletico, I'm
Oh
sacking
my
that
god.
geezer
Dude,
tomorrow. Yeah,
dude,
I'm
free
sacking him tomorrow.
Alvarez. Free Alvarez.
Oh,
Free
100%.
Alvarez,
Free that
bro.
brother big
That
time, bro.
team, man. What the
Free
hell,
that brother
bro?
big time, yeah. I Now listen, people, the next time me and Miguel will talk, it will be on his channel.
Yeah.
He came
Yeah, I'll
on.
have you on my channel.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be on his channel the next time. We'll see when that happens. Look, Miguel, big up, brother. Pleasure, mate. Yeah.
No.
I've loved this
It,
stream, man, and yeah, man, we're gonna do this again soon, man. You and I, we have such good conversations as well,
yeah.
and
No,
yeah,
this
we might.
this has been great, man. I love it too. Like I'll have you on my channel. We'll see next week or hopefully yeah, maybe like probably we can probably do something like Wednesday after the whole Real Madrid probably have played by then
Mm,
and we'll figure it out. We'll be in
yeah,
touch and then hopefully
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
have you on my channel too.
yeah, 100%. We will sort something, 100%. People, big up for this. I will be back tomorrow. We'll see what I do tomorrow. But I'm gonna find something to do. This is Will. He's doing a watch along. Yeah, rate his chat with Blanco's Barca volume rate. Yeah, and I'll talk to you man next time. Yeah, adios, ciao, a la Madrid.